Welcome, everybody. Major League Baseball Odds Couple Show. Mike Brenner coming to you after a 2-0 night last night. Brings my record to 25-20 in Major League Baseball, and I plan on moving that number up. I'm talking today with Rob Cressy, Major League Baseball analyst, and Rob's edge and his angle is on pitching. So today, it's a loaded slate with some of the top pitchers in Major League Baseball. So with that being said, let's get right into it. Rob, first and foremost, thanks for being on with me. How's everything going on your end?
Absolutely fantastic. Super excited about this slate, which is just filled with a ton of stud pitchers.
Yes, it is. Hey, listen, an early game, all right, and it gets started at a little after 1 o'clock Eastern. Washington against Miami. Now, the Nats are 10-3 on the year. Miami kind of struggling to put things together. First-year manager Don Mattingly, obviously, putting the pieces together. But Max Scherzer is going to be on the mound, and Max Scherzer's 2-0 this year. What do you think about this game, and is Kohler going to get his ass roped from Washington?
He is going to get smoked because he has been shelled so far this year. Scherzer, he's sitting at minus 178. Here's what I like about this matchup. Last year, Scherzer, 2.75 ERA, 3-1 against the Fish last year. They hit just 225 against him. I see no reason why you should be on Miami on this one. Just look at the matchup. Do you have more faith in Kohler, who's been awful, versus a perennial Cy Young winner in Max Scherzer? I like me some Scherzer.
I like me some Scherzer. And also, you throw on top of that, Bryce Harper and everybody else that's starting to hit for this team. They're dangerous. And, Dusty Baker, my hat's off to him. I'm not a huge Dusty Baker fan, but obviously it's early. But first 13 games, he's doing a good job with that ball club. All right, moving on. Boy, I'll tell you what, here is an absolute pitching gem. You got Jake Odorizzi for Tampa Bay, going to Boston to take on David Price, who is 2-0 so far, but 4.50 ERA. And again, he's trying to fit into his new surroundings. What's your thoughts on this game, Rob? And is this going to be something that may be anticipating an under to cash a ticket?
This is my favorite matchup of the day. So let's start with Tampa. Odorizzi plus 149. So far this year, 2 good starts, 1 bad start, but he has allowed only 1 run in 2 of his 3 starts this year. But here's the important thing. Let's look back to last year. In 19 innings versus the Red Sox, 2.29 ERA. They hit only 233 against him. He allowed 0 home runs. I certainly see value there. Flipping it over to the Boston side, David Price at minus 159. He's been a strikeout machine so far this year. Tampa 10th in the majors in strikeouts. But here's the thing. Looking back to last year, David Price got shelled by Tampa, an ERA of 7.36. The Rays hit 295 against David Price last year. I certainly see some opportunities for some value on Tampa.
With that being said, I know it's early in the season, but Tampa seems to be struggling to find their bats early on, and Boston obviously has its issues with some of its, veteran players as well. So that's going to be interesting to see how that plays out, and I think that's going to be a low-scoring affair. Hey, Rob, we got the Angels going to take on the Chicago White Sox. Now, Jared Weaver's on the mound, and this guy can get roped. He's getting older. Don't know what's going on with his mechanics. All right, he is 1-0 on the year with a 4.35 ERA, but he's facing a pitcher, the lefty Danks from Chicago, that also is big time struggling right now. 0-2, 7.94 ERA. Hell, Rob, I think I could hit a home run on this guy. What's your thoughts on this ball game?
Hide your kids, hide your wife. You want nothing to do with the pitchers in this game. If only this was 5 years ago, this would only be an average matchup. John Danks getting that big contract, Jared Weaver having a season or 2 where he looked elite, but man, we are nowhere near that right now. Not the best start for the Angels, just 6-9 on the season. Jared Weaver minus 103 in this game. Here's some issues. Albert Pujols hitting below the Mendoza line, and Mike Trout leads the team in strikeouts. On the flip side, the White Sox, really nice start to the season, won 7 of their last 10. Danks sitting at minus 105, but Danks has allowed 5 runs in each of his first 2 starts. I do like the way that Melky Cabrera and Adam Eaton have started this year. I don't trust either of these pitchers. It is worth noting that in the first 2 games, only 8 total runs given up in this series. Something's got to give because I don't believe in these pitchers.
Yeah, and and another thing with what you said about Trout, maybe he's in his sophomore season slump. And what I'm saying that is when he signed that huge contract, he came out and did what most players that sign big contracts don't do, and that's produce and keep on going like they've done in the past. I think it's catching up to Trout, but I also think that very soon he's gonna get out of this slump and he's gonna come out of it, with a passion, because this is a guy that literally would play for nothing if it came down to push to shove. He loves the sport. And yeah, Albert Pujols, below the Mendoza line. I love that. Here's a guy that's been overpaid for 3 years. It's about time he steps up as well. Chicago, on the other hand, again, they imploded that whole lineup, rebuilt from the inside. They're looking for some power, and they've gotten it. And like you touched on, Cabrera is off to a great start. And I think this is a game maybe to stay away from, but might be leaning towards LA, but we'll get to the picks at the end of the show. All right, Arizona taking on San Francisco. Shelby Miller going up against Johnny Cueto. All right, Cueto, I don't know what to say. Sometimes he looks fantastic, and sometimes he looks like he just doesn't give a shit. What's your thoughts on this game, and is there an edge anywhere inside?
I actually really like this game. So Johnny Cueto minus 162. He's 3-0 on the season. He's gone 7 or more innings in each of his 3 starts, in 2 of them allowing only 1 run. San Francisco this year is scoring runs, but they are also giving up a ton. Looking at the Diamondbacks, Shelby Miller at 152. He's been injured and he's been in a train wreck this season. He has a gigantic ERA of 8.50 and his whip is ballooned. His strikeout to walk ratio also isn't good. Something's got to give in this game, though. The Giants have lost 4 in a row. The Diamondbacks have won 4 in a row. And the Giants are hoping to not get swept at home. And here's another thing. Only 6 total runs scored in the last 2 games, but 16 runs scored in the first game of the season. For me, I am not a fan of what I've seen so far out of Shelby Miller.
Yeah, me neither. And Cueto, I know he's starting out good. I faded him when he was with Cincinnati and really made some good money on him. But I keep waiting for that train wreck to happen. But you know what? He might get the best of me on this one. Maybe he's more focused than in years past. So I don't know. I'm going to stay off of that one. All right, here's another interesting one. Toronto going up against Baltimore. All right, Estrada is going to be on the mound for Toronto. Again, this is a team that I keep waiting for the offense to explode last year when they were averaging 8, 9, 10. I mean, they were in like 11-9 ball games, but they were winning because of their bats. Now they're going up against Baltimore, who's 8-4 on the year, playing with some confidence, and they're at home. Any thoughts on this game?
Yeah, so I'm someone who likes to think that the regression to the mean is going to happen. Lots of offense here in this game. I like Baltimore's ballpark. I like Toronto's offense. For me, I'm not completely in love with this pitching matchup. So for me, I'm looking for some runs.
Okay, that makes sense to me, and I think it's about damn time that Toronto explodes, and I think it's going to happen. All right, here's one, and I just love what's going on in Chi-Town, Rob. All right, Joe Madden, when they hired him as manager, I knew that was a great hire, and I knew that finally, I really think Chicago's woes are going to be over sooner than later. They're going to get that elusive ring. But in the meantime, they're 11-3. The bats are alive, but they got Jake Arrieta on the mound. This guy is an absolute shutdown pitcher. He's 3-0 on the year, 1.23 ERA, and he brings it every single game. All right, he's going up against a very good lefty, though, in Brandon Finnegan for the Reds. He's 1-0. He's got a 2.04 ERA. This kid's looking sharp as well. I think the separation here comes from the bats. What's your thoughts on this, and what's your thoughts on Joe Madden with the skipper that's really doing a good job leading the Cubs?
So I am based out of Chicago, and as you can imagine, people are going bananas over this Cubs team. Joe Madden, the best manager in all of baseball. I just can't say enough good things about him. So Arrieta, minus 206 tonight. He's continued his Cy Young stuff. 3-0, 1.23 ERA, whip under 1, 20 Ks, 2 walks on the season. The Cubs already swept the Reds earlier this year. Get this, the Cubs have given up 3 runs or fewer in 10 of their last 12 games, and they lead the majors in run differential by a large margin. Dexter Fowler's hitting well, and they're doing all this despite Jason Hayward hitting like garbage. Moving over to the Reds, Finnegan plus 186, as you mentioned, a nice start. He's only given up 4 runs in his 3 starts, a whip around 1. But here's the thing that concerns me. 9 walks in the last 2 games. That is not a good trend. The Reds are overachieving here. And shout out to Brandon Phillips, who has found the fountain of youth. I'm not someone who's likely to be betting against Jake Arrieta and this Cubs team.
Well, and I think if there's any move that really kind of shocked me and I scratched my head and said, what the hell were you thinking? And it was that Jason Hayward when they acquired him. He's got that Ryan Howard syndrome, which means I'll show up when I want to. I'll produce when I want. And I saw that pattern when he was in Atlanta. And then when he went to St. Louis, Rob, last year, that project just failed. This guy has got to either start getting on board with what the Cubs are doing or they need to ship his ass out. And that's my personal opinion on that. And you know what? My hat's off to Brandon Phillips finding that fountain of youth. That kid is a hustler. I love the way he plays the game, and there is still a spark in that lineup because of him. Joey Votto and some of the other veterans there, they better start waking up and doing some hitting because Cubs are going to put it on them today. So I don't see those bats cranking it up for the Reds anytime soon. Now, with that being said, Detroit's got Pelfrey on the mound. Going up against Kansas City, another ex-Red pitcher that I used to fade, Edison Volquez. Well, he's just doing nothing but killing it this year. He's 2-0 with a 2.04 ERA. All right, really, this team's not getting respect, the defending champs. They're 9-4, and everybody said they'll be lucky to finish 500. Again, they're not getting respect. I don't think the lines have adjusted. Any thoughts on Detroit with its powerful lineup going up against Kansas City with Volquez on the mound, Rob?
Yeah, cue that Rodney Dangerfield. I just can't get no respect. And for those wondering, this is a Bo Jackson Royals jersey. So, looking at the Tigers first, Pelfrey plus 138. I am not a fan of him at all. 6 walks in his last game, even though he gave up only 1 run. Tigers are 6-3 on the road this year, which is nice. Ian Kinsler has come out swinging, as has Nick Castellanos and JD Martinez too. Flipping it over to the Royals, Volquez minus 148. He's been solid so far this year, allowing 2 runs or fewer in each of his 3 outings this year. His strikeout to K ratio can be erratic though, and that's what worries me a little bit. He's good sometimes, bad others. I tend to side with the better pitcher in matchups. Sal Perez is hitting well. I do like that. And Lorenzo Cain, we need to see a little bit more out of him for this Royals team.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised at his production so far, but I think he's the kind of player that can just turn it on, and when he does, look out. All right, the last game we're going to review before we give out our picks, and boy, I like this game as well. Houston with Dallas Keuchel, the lefty, on the mound, all right, against Texas with Griffin on the mound. All right, now Houston's 5-9, kind of underachieving. Well, actually, they are underachieving. Is this the day they straighten it out with Keuchel on the mound going up against Texas, or are the Rangers starting to really pick up some momentum because Cole Hamels left him in good shape once again last night?
Yeah, so 2 completely different paths that I'm not sure if everybody saw this happening before the season. Astros lost 7 of their last 10. They're allowing a ton of runs. Carlos Gomez, he has not been hitting well at all. Keuchel minus 154 on the day. Here's the thing. He's been good, but not great this year. The thing that really sticks out to me is he's walking a ton of batters. So something is a little amiss there. Over on the Rangers, they've won 7 of the last 10, and they're scoring a ton of runs. Really nice start for Elvis Andrus. I really like what I've seen out of the call-up Nomar Mazara. Adrian Beltre continues to old man mash. AJ Griffin plus 144 on the day. He has a really high whip, not a really good walk ratio. So I would tend to like Keuchel a little bit more, but there's some things are out of whack in this matchup. Once again, regression to the mean. I would like to think that the Astros do find a way to figure it out.
Yeah, and forgive me for the mispronunciation on Keuchel, whatever, but you know who I'm talking about, that tall lefty that can throw 99 miles an hour. All right, with that being said, Rob, what do you have today for our viewers? What picks hold the edge? And if you will, just go ahead and give them out and let me know what the current lines are.
3 games that I really like. 1, I like the value in Jake Odorizzi plus 149 there. It is a tough matchup, but I do like the value, and I like the way that he has pitched against Boston previously. Second, I'm going to that Giants game with Johnny Cueto. This is a fade on Shelby Miller among anything else. Plus, I don't think that the Giants are a team that's going to get swept to a division rival. And then lastly, I'm going to a game that we didn't talk about, Pirates versus Padres. Reason being, the Pirates are on the verge of getting swept by the lowly Padres. Thankfully, the stopper they have is Garrett Cole, their ace. He's sitting there minus 143. The Pirates need this victory there. So solely on teams that are motivated, that I don't believe are bad, who have opportunities to be swept, I see value in.
Okay, so to review Rob Cressy's picks, viewers, and again, Rob Cressy from Bacon Sports, he knows his baseball. Pitching is his angle. He's going with Tampa Bay today, plus 149 on the money line. His second pick is the Giants, minus 162. And the third pick, the Pirates going to avoid a sweep, minus 143. All right, now I'm going to give out my plays. My first one of the day, I'm going, believe it or not, I'm going with the Angels, and I'm damn sure not doing it, Rob, because of Weaver. All right, I'm doing it because I think Trout wakes up. I think something clicks. I'm looking for Andrelton Simmons, the shortstop who they acquired from the Braves. I'm looking for him to come to life, and I got it on the money line at plus 104. So that's my first play with the Angels. Now, my second play, and I like this because, again, it has to do with bats. I think Estrada's going to do his job on the mound today. I'm going with Toronto. I grabbed them on the money line, minus 101. So that's going to be my second pick. The Blue Jays getting it done at Baltimore. Now, my third pick, I'm going with the Cubs, and I'm doing it on the run line, and I'm doing it with confidence. I grabbed it at Heritage, minus 120. And my reasoning is that Arrieta is liable to get a shutout, and the Cubs are going to just have too much power for Finnegan. So again, Cubs on the run line, minus 120. And that's all I'm going to put out today, and I think those are going to be nothing but winners. So with that being said, viewers, again, check us out tomorrow and beat your book tonight. Rob Cressy is going to be back with us. He's from Bacon Sports. And also go to the SBR Picks page. We got some great articles from some great handicappers that are giving some good picks, not just for baseball, but for hockey playoffs, NBA playoffs, and everything else. Rob, with that being said, when you coming to Costa Rica?
Oh, hopefully very, very soon. Once these winners cash in, boom, shakalaka. I'll be doing that.
It sounds like a plan, and when you get down here, we'll show you a good time, and we'll take some of the bookies' money down here as well. Okay, viewers, you heard it. Knock it out today, beat your book, and tune back in tomorrow. Rob, thanks so much for being with us.